Oh, look, you can see the toe, you can see the face. We got our car fixed. I don't know if I said that on the video yet. We also got support from some friends in the YouTube fraternity who have, made the last few days much more enjoyable. Ice cream shop. I'm going to show you guys around quickly. I haven't done it live for a while, so. Oh no, I'm live on YouTube.
Oh wow!
Say hello to my subscribers. No one's joined yet.
Thank you, bud.
Cool. I did this, obviously. It's hard to read. Sorry, man. Can you read that? We are sovereign beings. It's hard to spell. Government. And there's a .com for you. Thanks. Do no harm, guys. No mask, no bags. I mean, ooh. Sandra, Zizi's going to want my attention, but I just wanted to try and do a live if I can. Andrea, I need your help.
Sorry, come here, sweet. Do you want to have something to eat?
So, I'm just going to wander around. This is the Unity group here. I don't know a lot of again. We're obviously in South Africa, Durban. This is Addington Hospital over here. My mother worked here for some 20 years in the intensive care unit, and strangely enough never brought illness home. It was never a feature of our lives, but we lived by terrain theory, the terrain idea, and that is that your wellness was pretty much predicated on perhaps your family heritage and your lifestyle, most importantly. Your lifestyle, stress, all these sorts of things. As you can see, the local police are trying to be involved in this. I'm waiting for my friend Dudu. He's coming here. Hey Jonathan. Well done. I was just saying I like the sign, and there it is. Huh?
So you feel involved.
Yeah, let me get a
I've been
little
holding
bit.
it for about half an hour.
Let me hold it for you.
My poor arm is getting tired. I'm not as strong as Bronwyn.
Tell my subscribers where you're from in England.
Oxford.
Oxford. Did you hear that, guys? An Oxford lad in.
You can tell from the accent.
Yeah. I'm live on YouTube at the moment. So
Are you?
yeah. So they heard the Oxfordshire man complaining. 1 hour in, is that all? 1 hour. I thought you guys were into sailing and all that. Tally-ho. Hold on to the old sail, the mainsail. Anyway, yeah, I'm just doing a little bit of live, and we'll see if we can, spread some of this footage. My channel does get a lot of, doesn't get a lot of views nowadays. You know, I've found that in the last year or so, it was never busy, but now it's less busy. Well, it's time to get going. We've got the Stop 5G lady there, which, of course... Well, we're going to do a little bit of walking and maybe some talking. It's not a big crowd, as you can tell. But, there are people concerned, and then a lot of people... Hi. Hey. This is that's Nick. Oh, Nico.
Yeah,
Peter.
Peter came yesterday.
Yeah, I saw you yesterday, but I didn't say hello.
Oh, you Dave?
Yeah, I'm Dave.
Nice to meet you, Dave.
Likewise.
You're doing amazing things.
We all do a little bit. Thank you very much. And I like what Ohm is doing, and you want to give people smaller government and improve democracy if you can. Lower rates and taxes, clean, safe public spaces, community empowerment, and reform school. Well, we've got to talk to them about the education system altogether. Access to land ownership. But yeah, this is some of our local friends on there. So let me move on. Mind the gap. I've seen that guy's T-shirt. Makes me think I've misplaced my NASA Lies T-shirt somewhere in one of the places we stayed at. For those who are following some of the personal story, we had 9 pretty restful days actually in what is normally a school house, and we were offered some accommodation there, and it's a really outdoorsy kind of environment, and really nice to be away from all the closeness and the tightness of our situation at times. But I know that everybody out there is going through hard times. Hey, there's some people talking. Hi, Emma from Wales. Wales is one of those places that has potential. Hey, guys, am I like losing the plot, or is it like becoming increasingly obvious that you have to be away from the city, or have maybe a conduit into the city, but not actually? It just feels to me like this is going mental. I mean, this country is still pretty hardcore about the mask and all that, really hardcore about the mask. Let's see. What?
So the police have told them they don't have permission for the march. So they are not going to march until they're going to go down to the metro and go and get the permission to march. So at the moment we just need to socialise.
Wow. Well, I can certainly do a lot of activism on the street, because man, you see, like, okay, so here in South Africa, the situation is far more like intense with regards to the in-your-face restrictions. We think that, you know, it's because they cannot get people to take the arm stab. They can't get people to take the arm stab. As you see, I had to cut my hair really short. I've been losing my beard hair for the last 2 years. It was 2 years yesterday that we left Good Hard Way. 2 years on the road. Wow. And what a ride. There have been times when I said to Andrew, you know, we've got to look at this, maybe look at this, try and look at this like a holiday. A holiday? What the heck are you talking about, holiday? And she would use language less strong than that. That's what's been going on here is, I think, much more intense, because they are behind the curve on getting people to take up the needle, become drug addicts, because they're going to have to take 4 to 6 months. No. So, and there's a really, really powerful sentiment, although the African community are, they're what's the word I'm looking for? They have like a respect about them, you know, and that respect has been misused. They have respect for human life in a way that Europeans have lost along the years of servitude and slavery. But these guys have a respect for the system, and so they will go along with what the master has said, you know. And when we were kids, this is what I would have, not that I ever felt comfortable with it, but I would have, you know, older men call me master, because they were black and I was white, and that never made me feel comfortable. But they are somehow very much more comfortable with that idea of master and servant. And in this case, government master, Ramaphosa daddy. The scientists extremely smart on things that, you know, us simple country folk could not begin to understand. Yeah, and no to mask, by the way. You know, you're recycling. Oh my God, my friend, that looks so awful. Honestly, it does. You know, when you're recycling your own breath, it's like breathing the exhaust pipe. I promise you. And not only that, your body goes into fight or flight. It thinks that you're under attack, and so you create cortisol and stress that will eventually kill people because you can frighten people to death, and that's what they've done with this thing.
I've been saying, no, but they know, they're vaccinated. I haven't. I've been saying,
Well done, sister.
I want.
Well done.
They
That's
said, no, you won't catch a flight from Gauteng. They said, no. I asked my brother, like, yeah, you will catch a flight even if you're not vaccinated.
Yeah, I don't know if they can ever stop us from doing those things, but even if they do, you have to ask yourself the question, is it worth, exactly, is it worth giving up your rights and possibly
Why do I have to vaccinate if I still have to wear a mask, if I still get COVID-19?
I mean, it's crazy, eh? And after all this time, we're a year and a half in, and we got people still thinking it's going to make a difference when they say, no, we did it for 6 months, it didn't go away, we're going to keep doing it.
No, it don't work.
There's just no logic to
It
it.
has been proven it isn't working. It
Yes.
isn't working.
Absolutely.
People are still dying even after vaccination.
Absolutely.
So what's the point?
And as I say, I think there was no pandemic in 2020. What they've done is they've started making people sick with all the hand gel 10 times a day, bad breath from, like
From the mask.
from the mask,
Mask,
yeah,
yes.
poor, and no loved ones spending time with them.
They separated
They
us.
can't go to church and feel the good feeling every Sunday.
No.
Yeah? This is what has killed people. And the fear, an Indian lady told me on the bluff a week or two ago, she said, my father died, they called it COVID, he died of fear. That's what she said. I'm not like anti or for anything. We went through this, we believed it, but the truth is now, it was fear that killed my dad. And I think that this has happened last year. We saw a slight increase in the death rate, but because we were doing these strange things to people. And now we're starting to get...
We were washing our hands all the time.
Yes.
We were sanitizing all the time.
Yes.
We were wearing masks all the time, but we still died.
Yes.
So what's the point?
Yes.
No, I'm telling you, I want vaccinate.
Cool.
But I want.
But there's a more important thing, and that is that can we trust government anymore?
No, I cannot.
Eh?
I cannot.
And
We were given 500 billion to solve this pandemic.
really?
500 billion.
Wow.
Not even 500 billion.
Billion.
Where is it?
Well, that was to pay the government to go along with whatever they were told to do from the United Nations.
China built a hospital.
Uh-huh.
Government, what did our government do?
They?
They dig up graveyard sites for us. 1 million graveyard site for
Wow.
people.
Wow. 1 million graveyard.
Yeah.
What?
Imagine
That's
that.
crazy. I hadn't heard that.
You didn't.
No,
but
I didn't. I've been out of this country for 27 years. I've only been back 4 or 5 months, and I've come back to try and help people make a difference. I've been talking to a lot of people up and down the beach the last few months, and they all know, most people know that there's something wrong, but they just don't know they can do
Why?
anything about it, and that they have to, they feel forced to take the vaccination when they should not.
I know. I want. I don't feel forced.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to. And now it's my right.
Awesome.
It's my right. The president said, he himself said, it is out of your choice. So my choice, as I'm saying, I won't take the vaccine. If I die, I die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to consent to
No,
anything. It's
no.
your body and it's your
This
choice.
is my choice.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Lovely to talk to you. Bye-bye. Let me say hello to some folks. Try the place from California. Thank you. The world is full of lies. Are you all Jeffrey Ball? AI has been in the making since TV and probably before. I think that whatever epoch event occurred in the last few hundred years, there was an intention always to bring people to a point of totalitarian control. I can see Dudu up there. Brother Dude.
Man,
How are you, brother?
I'm okay.
Yeah, let me bring you up to speed. Have you just arrived?
Yeah.
I'm live right now. We've got a small audience watching us from around the world. So hopefully more people will tune in and watch this later on. Dudu is one of my friends. We met at the waterfall, and we got talking, and it ended up us meeting a few times, and some good stuff coming from that.
Yes.
Now today, so Dudu, you're a taxi driver, right? You don't mind me saying that, and for me that's a really useful kind of area, because I think that if we can reach taxi drivers with our information, then this is how you get the news out, because that's the bush telegraph that the digital system can't control. So here, unfortunately, this march has been constrained or held back for a half an hour while the police go and go to another office to get permission for us to walk down the street together, which smacks of the totalitarian system going crazy, because we're just a few hundred people, no, not even 100 people here, and they don't possess, they're not any kind of threat or any issue. People should be able to walk and gather. That was always our right, walking and gathering. But they'll tell you because of the flu, you can't do it anymore.
Yes.
These are people talking in real time.
Yes, I see they comment. Comment here.
Yeah.
Comment here. I see
Yeah.
them.
Someone 432 hertz, which is a good play. You've got to listen. 432. Okay.
We've got so many who are with us here.
Yeah.
As long as they don't come with their bodies, but
Cool. Well, this
they are
guy
still with
says
us.
it's fantastic what you're doing. Street activism is so important. I've been busking most days, playing classical music, raising the frequency. I love that. Anyway, that's hi from Sussex. Okay, that's where you're at. Yeah, I helped a man in the North Wales who had a seizure in the street. Dude, that's interesting, Charlie, because I don't know if you saw my incident 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, where a lady had a seizure, double seizure actually, and I helped her through that. And when I first approached the scene, my thought was this is some kind of frequency or vibration thing that's happening right now to this lady. It did turn out that she is, receiving extreme poison from the chemo industry. But it just made me think of that. So, are we going to be seeing more seizures? And people say that blood clotting and heart attacks are a part of it. Anyway, I'm going to leave this live stream running and we can chit chat. But unfortunately, as I say, this march is held up. Maybe I'll just do a bit of my own street activism, because that's what I'm best at anyway. The big group thing is like, you've got to know that, here we are. If I told these people that even their NASA and all the science that, the Newton and Darwin and all that stuff is part of this grand lie, would they still want to talk to me? This is unfortunately, this is my experience anyway. Your community is much more comfortable with the idea that, the whole moon landings was a lie to trick people, take people's power. But not necessarily like most people. And I used to think, well, if they did fake it, they faked it to try and impress the world that they were better than Russia. And they were in the space race with Russia, so they wanted to beat them in the space race. Well, both Russia and America are in the same dressing room saying, okay, you guys are going to go first into space, but then we'll get the first man on the moon. That's the way it's going to play out. Because we've got Disneyland right here near us. It's a lot easier for us to fake stuff at Disney than it is for you guys to fake stuff out in Siberia. We'll leave you guys in Siberia to handle like lunar landing stuff where we want imagery, or if we go to Mars one day, then maybe up there would be a good place to fake going to Mars, because they're faking going to Mars as well, dude.
Too much faith, too much. They blame us. They used to make us to don't believe in ourselves, to believe in them.
Yeah, I believe in this sort of more powerful, it's almost like, in the Bible it says men will try to be like gods. And I think that this is what the NASA agenda is, or the agenda of world control, is that we will control God's creation.
Yes.
It's men, it's children, it's energy, it's power, all that. We will control that like gods, rather than allowing God's children or God's expression as you and me to control our own destiny and our own power. And so when it comes to like the moon landings, interestingly they took these like penises, and they shot them up into the sky of the Great Mother, and so it's almost like a sex ritual where they're shooting this phallic thing up into the sky, and then these white suited seamen or astronauts come out and go onto the womb or on the egg of the moon. And guess what? How many went onto the moon? How many men walked on the moon? 12. How many apostles? 12. You know what I'm saying? How many months of the week? 12.
12, yes,
How many zodiac signs? 12.
12, yeah.
All of these things are 12. Knights of the Round Table, 12.
Why is all the time is 12?
Because that actually is your zodiac clock, because you are the sun And you have all 12 of those things. You have Pisces, you have Aquarius, you have all of the different energies, because each of the different energies have a different role to play, and they're a different part of who we are and our makeup. So there was 12 disciples, you know, with Jesus standing in the middle. Jesus is the Son of God. Well, you are the Son of God, and around you are these 12 disciples, which are the luminaries, which is why it's so important to know when you were born, because the energies of that have a little play on when you're going to feel good, when you're going to feel not so good, and so on. So this is why I think that there's always this 12, because there are 12 zodiacal signs, with you, the 13th, the one at the center. Think about your clock. It's got 12 places on it with a spindle in the middle. And that's you at the center of the universe, with everything turning around you. Crazy, huh?
Yes,
That's incredible.
12 is a number that, I agree what you say, because even when you look in a soccer game, 11 players, 12 of them is a referee.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Both team, they come with 11 players.
Brilliant.
They both use there's the one referee as a 12 of them to get instruction from him.
Yes,
from her
yes.
At the time.
Amazing.
Yes,
That's a great analogy.
Yeah,
I really like that. But so for me, like, you know, you're meant to be the sun. You're meant to be at the center of your universe, and these energies are like, okay, these energies have good parts and bad parts. You know, in energy there is positive and negative. There's hot and cold.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So Mars can
That's
be,
the
for
right.
example, a fiery energy, or a powerful kind of doing something good energy. You know, so it depends on where you are at in your own life and in your own story, right? And so this 13th is actually the guy in the middle who
Yes.
controls the 12. Who says, I don't want so much of you, I need a little bit more of you, and so on. Because in the Bible it says that you've got the good shepherd, and the good shepherd has got to look after the goats and the sheep, right?
Yes.
Well, half of you is a goat and half of you is a sheep.
It's a sheep.
You know, part of you is like shy and wants to go. The other part wants to be out there, kind of doing that like a goat. You know, running around in the field and what have you. You know, and our role is to say control the ego and to control the mind, because the ego and the mind are the goat and the sheep. The goat might be the ego and the mind might be the sheep. The mind is up here in the heavens, wants to go along with God and Jesus, you know, all the religions and all that sort of thing, and be good and what have you. And then the goat wants to be like the best in class, you know, and doesn't want to be seen to be, you know, doing anything, you know, be whatever. So our ego and our mind have been controlled to get us out of balance, so that we're no longer in the center, in the middle of our clock. We're more pulled to this side or more pulled to that side, and we're not centered as we should be, neutral, in the middle, between the red and the blue.
Yeah.
I said it the other day for the first time, I don't know if I said it on camera, it's like the forked tongue of the serpent, right? You've got the left side and you've got the right side. But we've got to take the middle path between that. There's nothing to stand on, but we've got to take that middle path rather than be pulled left or right.
Yes.
The same with politics, same with anything in life.
Yes, anything in life. Yes, I like I like your explanation, because it gives me and other people a new thing in our minds.
Something to think about, yeah.
Yes, that I believe in, that every time when you wake up, you must get a new thing on your mind. So as we are here today, I hope that even after we finish everything that we are here about today, there will be a lot I'm gonna gain. And the very important thing is that we all have a right to live in the way the God created us, as you said.
Yes.
And we must share the ideas. There is no one must take a decision for each other. You must ask him or her that are you happy about this decision? So, but now we will see ourselves, we are living in the difficult times, so where there are people who took a decision for us. That is not true, and this is not is what our government is telling about. It's a freedom country, and there is a rainbow nation. I can't say even a rainbow nation.
No.
But today I see the rainbow nation. Today.
Awesome.
I see it because it comes today on the true side, not on the grooming someone and stealing his mind to listen. I can't talk to gain some sight on other people from other person, because everyone has a chance to listen from his mind and from his heart what he's thinking, and he must take a decision for his or her side. Yes. Yes, I need him or her, and he also need me
Yes.
to share and to all the time we must take all that we believe in and bring on the table and watch on it and see that if we use it, what is the result of it. So on this case, it's just that I like to stick now on the side of a vaccine, because in this time there are some people who already organize the vaccine for us, and they never sit with us in different places, different provinces, to and check it thoroughly that it is good for us. So I think there are so many things, and I think this comes with a long way. It comes with a long way. So we need to meet together as we stand today, and we need everything that we believe to even educate our children, because this is not for us, it's for our generation. And if you just see now, we are living the plan that is planned more than 100 years ago.
Thank you.
With those generations, they planned our life when we come, as we are the right generation right now. They plan for us. So and I just say that maybe there is the time when they can check their plans, they see that they won't all their plans that they create for us. Some of them they are blocked somewhere somehow, because while we continue grooming people's mind, sometimes they try to find their self on all the media house and all the thing that is in front of us to check what is happening, and all the time the truth is gonna come day by day. So is that I see that maybe they're gonna give them the problem, because they see that there is some truth that we know now, and the real thing that will never change is that we are all grow up on our mother's stomach. We all grow up on our mother's stomach. There is no human being who planted like the tree. We all grow up on our mother's stomach, and we are all born healthy with and God created us with a beautiful thinking. So we are all clever.
An immune system, we got
our immune system must run naturally. So how can I give my immune system to work thoroughly if I just block my air? Because everything I must think, and I must listen from my stomach. There is the stomach. I always take the stomach as a watch, because many things I do, and after I wake up, the first watch I must listen is the stomach, because I can't do anything if I'm hungry. And now if I see what is happening in the world, especially in Africa, the world, the only country that I never went overseas since I was born. Even out of South Africa, I wasn't there. Since I was born, I was here in South Africa. Everything I know and everything I see, I'm just follow it with the social media as I'm using a smartphone. You see.
Hold on a second. Let's talk to these ladies quickly. Let's see if these ladies will. Do you mind if I ask you ladies a question? The Sabon.
Napping.
You know this mask thing we're saying, telling people is making people unhealthy? You're not for that? Oh, sorry you didn't see that reaction. It doesn't always go well. Why is a man running with the mask? Someone by the name of Uncontrolled Historian says, "You are in the perfect place at the perfect time, Dave." I like that, and I kind of feel the same way. It's 2 years today. You may not have heard me say it. 2 years yesterday, I should say, that we became without a home. We have been on the road, and thanks to one family member, a friend, and this great support from the YouTube community, we have managed not to actually sleep on the road, on the street. We've slept in camper vans, we've slept in a bus, and we've slept in like an old barn stables, like a Christian dormitory thing. We've slept in a whole lot of places, and there's been many days when we're like, we don't know where we're sleeping tonight, and it's already getting dark. It's been a really tough journey, and times when it's like, I just want to throw in the towel. But I swear, no time has it felt like as relevant to me to be here or to be in a place, because I think that, with the exception of those two ladies, there's most of the time people are going, I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear what you have to say, and in some way, I don't know what way yet, I will contribute more. Dude, the pot of food I made, it turned sour. Yeah, it like didn't taste nice. Like it. So I made it night before last,
Yes.
and it sat in this whatever 80-liter pot or whatever.
What is that?
It was stew. It was soup. Vegetable soup. And I was gonna bring it down here to the homeless dudes today, and they couldn't. I couldn't bring it to them. Hey guys, do you mind if I
We'll
ask you
give
a
them
question?
first also.
You'll get shy when the camera's around.
Or you give them first, then you reach this place.
I was going to give them the food this morning,
Yeah.
the homeless guys down here, and
Oh, yeah,
I went to
that's great.
warm
As
up
you
the
said,
pot
as
this
you
morning.
said
It's like,
yesterday,
that's gone bad, man.
How many liters there? The soup?
I would say there was at least an 80-liter pot. I mean, I struggled just to lift up the pot empty, and on my own, I couldn't barely lift it up this morning. I would say it was 50 liters of soup, and I was hoping to give like 60, 70 people some of that. Well, we were, Andrew and I, and Nico actually, and man, I was really disappointed in myself and in that outcome. Anyway, be that as it may. Hi guys. Can I ask you a question? I'm not on camera, unless you want to be. But this mask thing, like, we're really concerned that people are making themselves sick by rebreathing their stale air. You know, people that are coming into hospital now, I think, are coming in because of the things that we're doing because of Corona, rather than Corona itself. Like, the conditions that people are getting from using chemicals in their hands all the time, breathing poor quality air, recycled air, and so on, that this is actually going to cause far more illness. And they will use that excuse to actually make more controls on us rather than less. Because, you know, if 3-4 months ago into this, they'd said, look, we've done the mask thing, we've still got Corona around, it's obviously not working, we don't need to force you to wear a mask. Because you know what? They've never proven germ theory. They've never proven this theory that the governments of the world are working to now. Even Louis Pasteur, who invented germ theory, on his deathbed has claimed to have said, it's not about the germs, it's about the environment, it's about the terrain, it's about how you live. Your health is far more predicated upon how much you drink, smoke, stressed. You know, these things are going to make people sick far more regularly than anything that I pick up on a taxi or on a bus or on a train or whatever from someone else. We've never proven that we're making sick people on the train because someone was sick on the train. Hey, baby. So we're just trying to tell people that actually we think we're being completely bamboozled by world government and tricked into actually making ourselves into a pandemic. Because the data, I worked for the government in the UK for many years, and I was doing data stuff. That was my thing. And so a year ago, in the end of last year, I went and pulled off their data stats for the last 100-year deaths. And you know what? There was no pandemic. 1985 had exactly the same number of deaths as last year in England and Wales. That's not a pandemic. They were slightly up on the last 5-year average, but not pandemic worthy. And certainly when you see what they did to old people in the UK, they shunted them out of hospitals, didn't give them surgery, made them go into these care homes where they couldn't see their loved ones. And of course, some of them are going to die just from the fear and the stress of what's going on for them. So I say to people, like, I think we've been tricked into believing there was a pandemic. Yes, there's Corona. Yes, some people got sick possibly with flu. I did last year, but it wasn't like it's such a bad flu that I would consider for a second telling people to shut their business down and shut their schools down and their economy down and shut off their breath. I mean, God gave us our breath. We're meant, breath is life. You know, we live by our breath. So the moment you start reducing the quality of that, you're going to reduce the quality of your life. This makes sense to me. And if we're 3 years, 4 years from now and we're still doing this, people are falling over left and right, and we're still believing it's something that we picked up on the bus or at a party, rather than the things that we're doing to our own health right now.
We'll think about it.
Please do. Please do.
Okay.
Trust God. Don't trust the government.
Yeah.
Eh?
You must trust God.
Okay.
There's a creator.
Yes. I'll be with you in a second, dude. Are you going to handle it? Or what? I would go like over here somewhere. Over here somewhere. Yeah? Hey, Red Herring. Hey, there's Bon saying hello. Huh? They got permission? Oh, wow. We're allowed. Okay. Well, that's good news. Yeah, I would like this duck.
Okay.
Let's walk a little bit back this way. The camera does make people shy. I have much better conversations with people, and I've had 100 and 200 conversations along the beachfront. And hey, Bond, thanks very much for your gift the other day. I really appreciate that. I've got these flyers that we're printing, and I couldn't get them done in time for today, unfortunately. Your body, your choice, brother. They don't let the government get you to consent to any of this stuff, eh? No, they can't force you, but they're trying. They're trying to take away all the toys. You can't fly, you can't shop, you can't do all these things. It's bullshit, brother. See, this is why I need you, Dudu, because I swear, being able to kind of have the conversation with people in their own language is powerful. Powerful. You know, I'm happy to start the conversation, you know, but when they hear it from a guy like you, they're like, yeah, this is a brother as well, you know. So. I mean, see, for me, a child wearing it is just a horror show. And in another time, we would have looked at those people and gone, man, there's something wrong. Let me see if I can talk to these folks briefly. Excuse me, sir. Do you mind if I talk to you a moment about the mask thing? We're telling people that by rebreathing your stale air, you're actually going to cause your lungs and throat health complications in time. We think that the hand gel itself is actually causing people problems. Yeah, because you know your body's not used to taking all that toxic load and having to drink it all day long. For the children thing, by the way, I was in England for the first lockdown, and they've never said 12-year-olds and under should wear masks. It's just not good for a weak lung to say, and old people to say them that you've got to reduce the quality of the air and make it harder to breathe. When you put on the mask, your body thinks you're under attack. So people start breathing more from the mouth. Your body thinks you're in a fight or flight state, and so it increases stress levels. And by increasing stress levels, along with all these other things I've just spoken about, and you can't go to Sunday, you can't go to church, you can't hang out with your friends at the pub. All these things are causing people to become less well and distressed, maybe like depressed. And then, like an Indian lady said to me on the beach the other day, she said, my father, he died, they called it COVID, but I promise you he died of fear. He was so frightened. They can frighten you to death if you're weak in the mind or the body. So I just want to share that information with you, because I'll be honest with you, it breaks my heart to see a young child like that, your daughter, with respect, having because there's nothing she can get from you or me. In fact, if she got something from the environment, as you know, when you grew up, a little bit of dirt here, a little bit of dirt there, hang out with your friends, and they got a whatever, that little bit of germ is actually going to improve your immune condition, your immune response in normal life. But if you take away all of those germ instances and you sterilize every part of the environment, you end up sterilizing the child. You end up sterilizing them so that they don't have an immune response anymore. They cannot defend themselves when some virus does spread or whatever, however that works. You know, so we've been listening to doctors who are on the other side of the coin, but the government will never let you hear those doctors say, listen, this is what a virus is. Viruses aren't a problem. It's a natural response in a situation where a body has become toxic, where it's a little bit unwell. And you get flu, you go to bed 3-4 days, and then you're fine again. And your body's stronger as a consequence of that. And that's all they've got. That's all what a virus is, really. It might be a bad one, but I think it's a bad one because people are covering up their breath and so making their lungs weaker and making their bodies susceptible to more illness.
This mask thing, it's not right.
It's absolutely not right. God gave us this air, and I trust that God is keeping this air, this system clean for us. Actually, I trust that, and so I don't need to worry. I'd go to any hospital room, any place. My mother worked here at Addington for 20 years in intensive care. Never brought sickness home with her. You probably traveled on a number of taxis in your life, along with 10, 15 people maybe. And it was never a question as to whether there was an old lady in the back who was sick or a young kid with a snotty nose or whatever that was going to make you sick. No. I'm feeling good, or I did drink a lot last night. I'm feeling a bit rough, And nowadays you blame it on the kid that was on the bus. Yeah, I got on a bus. I think it was a kid who was a bit sick. Now it was their fault. And this is what the mask thing is doing is that it's saying, if I get sick, it's my neighbor's fault. So in order to prevent me from getting sick, I'm going to make my neighbor take this needle in his arm and a cover his face and all these other stupid things. That's an extreme form of communism, and that's where we are now. People are so frightened; they expect you to do what they do because of their fear. It's like me saying, "Oh look, I took insurance out on my arms breaking, you know, and I think now everybody should take insurance on their arms breaking." No, if you think you're going to break your arms, then, you know, insure yourself away, but don't make it my problem, you know. And if this mask thing is so protective, then you shouldn't have to worry about whether or not I've taken anything, a vax or whatever. The vax is, you know, protective. You shouldn't have to worry about me because you're protected, right? Well, I'm not really protected. Then what are you taking the needle for?
So now the problem with this thing of the mask, you can't go to the mall and like buy stuff inside there without wearing it.
Yeah, and it might get worse. It might get worse to the point where they try and stop us unless we take in the vax. You know, and that is against human rights. South Africa has actually signed up to the Human Rights Code, man, and you know, the bioethics code and all these sorts of things. It says you cannot be forced to participate in these things, but these companies are working on the basis of a mandate given to them by the government. So the government is acting unlawfully because there is no law that can force you to harm yourself. No law. And what they're trying to do, this isn't harming you. Well, actually, it is. You know, when you speak to enough people, you go, yeah, they say, yeah, it gives me headaches, I don't feel great. And I see people when they're talking like Darth Vader, you know, having to breathe hard, because to talk, you can't just pull through your nose like you normally would. And yeah, man, it's a no-brainer that it's harming people. And the psychology of the children, I can't think what it's doing to them. It's worse than putting children through the bombing of the World War II, I think. Because to see your mother, father, or grandparents behind the mask, it's frightening, actually. And children can't even determine what your expression is with only the eyes to read. They need the whole face. You know, so the psychology of the children is going to be scarred. They're going to think that everybody around them is like a potential germ death sentence, right? Worse than the AIDS lie. And they're gonna. We won't. I made this joke that they're eventually going to invent these body condoms so that you don't actually have to touch someone at all. It'll just go over your whole body, and then there'll be like a little breathing tank on the back so you got clean air. This is where they're heading people, and it's against God. It's against God. You know, the golden rule of do no harm applies, and we need to let the people know, because if enough people know and say, hey. There's a lot of other people who feel the same way as me, then we wouldn't just go along with it. Because most people, I promise you, most people are just going along with it. They don't really want to do it. They don't really think their health is at risk, honestly. There's a few I meet that do, but in the main, people know this is, if you said you could take it off tomorrow, most would take it off. But we should not be in it. We are not school children, we are not prisoners, but this is making us look like prisoners, is that they tell us to do this. Next thing you know, they're going to tell you the only way to avoid corona is to crawl on all fours because it floats at about 4 feet of height. And you'll see people on the ground, even old people dragging themselves along, you know, believing this. Anyway, I won't keep you. I know you're with your family. It's nice to chat.
All right.
I have a website called lovetruthsovereignty.com.
Love?
Truth. Sovereignty.
Sovereignty. Oh, okay.
Yeah, sovereignty, because we are sovereigns. We are meant to be like the king and queen. We are meant to be untouchable in our own universe. Until we harm someone else, we should be untouchable. I should be able to do pretty much whatever I like. That's what a sovereign can do. But not anymore. When it's like, now I can tell you to put a nappy on your face. Eh? I mean, look at all these hard men walking around with like beards and what have you, and then this tiny little panty liner thingy on their face. It's insane, brother. It's insane. You know, hard men, tattoos, get off their Harley, put on the nappy, man. It's insane. You know? And they're just kind of going along with it because government told them to. Well, the government told me, I see you wearing a South African Defence Force bush hat. Government told me to go to war when I was a kid, 18, 19 years old, 1986, 87. And tomorrow, by the way, just interesting, I'm live on YouTube. Tomorrow, by the way, is the 34th anniversary of the biggest mechanized battle in African history since World War II. And I happen to be on the front line of that. And we fought against the Angolans for all day, from like 7 in the morning. And by the end of the day, we had tactically destroyed an entire brigade called the 47th Brigade. And that's what I did because I was propagandized, lied to. It's a terrible thing. They call us soul dyers because our soul is dying when we kill.
Soul dying.
Soul dyer. and they convinced me. And of course, on the other side, since I wrote my book, I've met MK soldiers and SWAPO guys.
Yeah.
So I've met guys from, you know, all the sides, and we're all the same. Actually, we wouldn't really want war, but our situation, this camp has made you fight against that camp, and now we're all in that situation. Well, I say to people that this new war, this World War III, must show to people that we are actually one, and together we have the power to assume proper authority of our own sovereign divine thing. It's a long way from where we are now, but that's the journey that I think we should be on.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Elfas.
Elfas.
Yes.
I'm Dave.
Okay.
I just want to shake your hand and say it's really nice to talk to you. Do you have any other questions, brother?
No.
No.
I'm gonna check you on
Love, truth,
yeah,
sovereignty.com.
I'm gonna check you now when
I got it. Yeah, at the moment it's a redirect to my YouTube channel, which is called Trinity for Africa. So, but I am going to be populating it with information so that people can inform themselves as to their rights and to the other side of the story, where it shows that, you know, vaccines are not as, or natural immunity is far better than vaccines. So the government should be spending its money on oranges, free oranges for every South African to improve people's health rather than put more poison in our body. You know, and when you get through the blood, the barrier of the skin, as you do with a needle, then you can do much more damage than things that are just on the outside of the skin. A protective layer is there for a reason, and God created it not to be punctured for any, just because you think you're worried about getting the cold or the flu.
Yeah.
First.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna check you.
Please do,
Yeah,
Dave. And
maybe we'll chat instead.
please, my email's there and everything. Contact me.
Yeah.
I'm here with another friend of mine, Dudu. He's like a Zulu guy, taxi driver, and he also wants to help me spread this word, particularly up and down the coast. I've got some flyers coming just to empower people. Not to say let's go and fight the government, because they would love us to go and fight them. And that's definitely what we do not want. We want love, not fight.
Yeah.
Cheers, my brother. Goodwill. Okay, how's that? Hey, hi, hi, hi. Don't wear the mask, it's bad for you. See, these are the guys I was having to feed today, some of these dudes, because they are hungry. Anyway, that didn't pan out. I'll take you guys there. I see there's a few more that's not the right way. A few more folks watching. And I appreciate that. It's been a long time since I did a live, and you know, people have got things to do on a Saturday. This is a small, let's call it a body sovereignty action movement occurring here today in Durban, a part of like a worldwide program of actions that people are taking here. You know, but you know, I think for me, what's good is that, just like that chap now, that we're making people aware that there is a different way of thinking about all of this, and that it does not have to be the implied consent can be withdrawn. So, some public servants here. I'm not sure if they'll be happy with me filming them. Let's see. No lockdown, no vaccines. Yes, brother. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. Yeah. Some speakers happening in there.
We have a right to choose. Despite what they tell us about what's medicine and all that rubbish, let me tell you, ivermectin has been used in other viruses like Zika and dengue. It's been used. World Health Organization lists of essential medicines, Nobel Prize winners.
I'm not sure about ivermectin, by the way. I just, again, it's like, do we need poison of any sort?
How do you feel? You know they're lying. You know they're lying. But you know which media to trust and which media to avoid. Avoid. A whole new space for the media landscape in our country. What else do we want? We want the jabs to stop now. We want the contracts cancelled. In fact, we cancel them. We do not recognize these contracts. Do we recognize them? No.
And we want jail for the people who put the vaccine.
Execution! Absolutely. There's got to be accountability. There's got to be accountability. We also want the illegally formed NCCC to be the standard. What is the NCCC? What is this extrajudicial body that they've created that the whole of Parliament is not a part of? It's a small select group who gets to make decisions about what happens in our country. It's unconstitutional and it's unlawful. We do not accept it. That's not how it works. That is not how it works. We are engaging with honest politicians, yes, there are a few, who tell us that they don't have a say because of the NCCC, because they're making all the decisions. But the mistake we made was to accept it. But they lied to us, telling us 2 weeks of lockdown, done.
The NCCC is trash.
Slowly, we started creeping and encroaching. 2 weeks became 1 month, 1 month became 1 year, and here we are now. So what we have to commit to is to being out in our streets and being active online every single day. Have you been banned on Facebook yet?
Lots of times.
Congratulations. We're doing something right. We also need to move to other platforms. That's important. But when I see you commenting about surveillance, everybody knows about surveillance by now, right? It's an independent platform to report jab injuries and deaths in our country. We created it before SAPRA even came up with anything, in May already. And so what we're doing is saying it's an independent system, report your vaccine injuries and deaths into that system. Your arm must be sore. You need some help. We need a volunteer to assist him. Thank you. So what we need is for people to report into the system once, so you have a voice with people who actually believe you. The organization in charge of this is Transformative Health Justice that we formed in January this year. And so you have a voice with people who believe you. We're not going to gaslight you and tell you it's not related to the vaccine. You're never going to hear that happen. The reports that we are getting are heartbreaking. They are painful to read what people are going through. Heart attacks, clotting, visual disturbances, hearing disturbances, depression, anxiety, nausea, vomiting, can't function at work, can't go to work, losing days on work. Imagine what happens if you accumulate how many days you haven't been to work. How much of money are you losing? How much of money is the economy losing? Right? There's a tangible figure, we can put a number to that. But we're asking people to please report to the system so we can hold this government accountable. The numbers that they're giving us are not accurate. They tell us not one death is related to the jabs, but they're not doing proper autopsies. The people that are doing proper autopsies, and we are engaging with scientists from Austria, from Germany, from the US, from the UK, from Italy, who are telling us 3 things. One, what's really in the jabs? What's really in the jabs? Contaminants, metals, graphene oxide, and even some parasites. Does it make sense why they don't want ivermectin now? And mercury, and all of the possible toxic chemicals in the world are inside these jabs. They're also telling us about the PCR test being a fraud. PCR test is a fraud. You amplify too many times, it makes you think that you're sick. You're actually not sick. Everybody gets scared. Oh, look how many cases. Look how many cases. Look how many cases to justify the lockdown. PCR test, by the way, is being cancelled at the end of the year. They're replacing it with some other rubbish test that's also going to be fraudulent. Right? Stop doing the testing, people.
Yeah.
The PCR test. The other thing the scientists are telling us, recently it's come out with the Austrian, German scientists, is that they've done autopsies on the bodies of people who passed away after taking the jab. Proper autopsies, not what like SAPRA is telling us. And they have proved that the deaths of these people are directly related to the jabs. They've proved it. But in our country, they're not doing proper autopsies. Why? Because SAPRA is being funded by who?
Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation!
Right? So do we expect them to tell us the truth about everything? No. They're not going to do that. So therefore, reporting into this system holds SAPRA and this government accountable. In fact, SAPRA wrote to our organization saying, we noticed that you've been collecting reports. We would like to collaborate with you. Isn't that interesting? I want to buy you. You know? So we had a robust debate about whether we should in fact engage in a conversation with SAPRA. And then we said we would, because we want to ask them some questions. How are you reporting adverse effects? How are you doing these autopsies? How are people reporting? Who's going to the people in the township and telling them this is how you can report into our system? They're not doing it. If they put enough energy into reporting as they do into the jabs, they will be overwhelmed with reports. That is why they're not doing it. We do plan to do our best to get into every corner of this country, but that's where you come in. You have to help us by letting people know the system exists, that they can report into the surveyors' website. We're also working on getting it translated into the various languages. So if you can assist us to do that, so people know that they have a right to report, that they're not going crazy, that their illness is due to the jabs, that would really help us to create accountability. We can take those reports into court and say to any judge who is ethical, or people are suffering, or people are dying, please stop these jabs, right? So what we are doing today is the beginning of a year-long campaign. This is going to continue. In fact, I think we need to be out every weekend. What do you think?
Yeah.
We need to be out every weekend until we build those numbers, until our numbers supersede the numbers in Johannesburg and Cape Town. Much respect to them. Much respect to them. If anyone knows the Shembe Church, we need the Shembe Church. We need the Shembe Church, guys. People of God, we need them.
So we
need to mobilize every single day and make sure that we're on the ground.
Church that wears all white, yeah.
Why? For what? But I thought people signed at the police station.
Oh,
Really?
only the permit's been
Anyway,
withdrawn.
we're going to have to go to court as well for the right to protest because the Constitution protects it. It does. We're not sure what's happened today. I believe that we were asked to go to the station to sign a document and this would be okay, but apparently it's not. So I'll do a program, I'll do a show on my program, The People's Voice, about the right to protest and what happens here today. But apparently we're being asked to disperse because apparently they're going to arrest all of us if we don't disperse. I don't know. I don't know.
Together in a row.
They're giving us 10 minutes. Yes, no, they are just following their orders from their bosses, right? They've actually been very understanding, you know. So I think what we're going to do is we've got Russell Snyman from the anti-treason movement. He's just about here. So we're going to give him the mic for 10 minutes. And then we are all, I think whoever can, let's all head over to Cool Runnings and we'll finish off there and finish with the talks. Okay? Okay. So, yep. Alright guys, so Russell Snyman is from the anti-treason movement because what is happening in our country is treason.
Yeah.
So we need for him to speak. I understand that our police officers are also under pressure from those above them who answer to those above them who answer to the pharmaceutical industry. But we're going to continue. We are going to continue. We're going to hear from Rasul and then we're going to walk, like Emma said, to Cool Runnings. Or if you've got your vehicle, we'll meet you there and we're going to continue with our program. Because the power is of the people. The power of the people is stronger than people in power. Amandla!
Scout, just a minute. Thank you. Thank you for that. Absolutely. I will not be joining those marches every weekend because I'll be working in my garden, planting food. And I would like to encourage everybody to do that because freedom is right there in your garden, in your backyard, against your wall, doesn't matter how small, how big. Sort your water out, sort your food out, people. We can do it ourselves. We don't need governments. While we wait for all these very important things to happen, the wheel turns fast, slow, we don't know. Everybody's captured, that we do know. You are free, I'm free. Okay. Do your own thing and teach your neighbor and your family. Look after each other. We can be free and sovereign Okay,
Yeah.
we don't need these people to tell us what to do, how to do it, where to go, where not. We don't need any of those places that tell us where not to go. Okay, and one of your options also, the only democratic right we've got left is to vote. Okay, and there are many options now. One of them is the organic humanity movement. We're voting for ourselves, not for leaders, because each person here is their own leader. Okay, and be that person. Step into your power. Take it back. We have given these people the power over us.
Yeah.
Okay, take your power back. We are much
Yes.
more than all of that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nico. Nico is my daughter's old school teacher. Runs an amazing home school.
Animalia.
Can I say the name? Animalia. That banner actually, which is a bit crinkled over there now, was made by all the kids a couple of years ago for the climate protest. This is Russell Snyman from the anti-treason movement, a very powerful voice who's been working for decades, exposing all the bad things that have been going on.
How are you guys doing? How are you guys doing out in the world? Is it crazy here?
Amanda. Not like that. Amanda. Let them hear us in Parliament. Let them hear us at the voting booth.
Yes.
Let them hear us every day. Politics is about us,
Yes.
not the politicians. We have to understand that there are two elements that control politics. Control and money. Politicians, by definition, are people who want to control others, make laws, pay fines, do all those kinds of things to ensure you are controlled.
Share this if you
Wear a
can.
mask,
Like and share.
shutdowns, lockdowns, you curfew, for example. All of these, the funny thing is, they want money. We fine you. Your car's not working. We don't find them because the road is not fixed. For example, now we have to ask, if we are the masters and the politicians are our servants, how is it that they finding us and we not finding them?
Exactly.
Or we have to ask them permission for a march.
Well,
It's crazy.
a number of things we're talking about control. Governments, we elect them to ensure that they look after us, to ensure that our voices are given expression, to ensure that society is healthy. But society is not healthy.
No.
Why is it not healthy? Because of the government.
Trauma.
The government is the biggest virus in South Africa.
And the bankers.
And we need to sanitize our politics. We need to sanitize our parliament. We need to sanitize our government. Most of the governments are liars. They promise us things that they can't deliver, and then we protest here because they're not delivering, because they couldn't deliver. So the entire game of government has been changed. It is now inverted in a sense that the truth is lie and lie is the truth. How many times government has been lying to us? Government told us when they came in, I'll look after your interests. That's why we elected them. Now they give our interests to the politicians and they give our interests to their pockets. Now we've got to ask, when they do this, what do you call it? In the broadest definition of the word, if you go internationally and you look at the word, when governments take your interests and sell them to someone else, it's called treason.
Treason.
Our government has committed treason, and we haven't risen to the point that we are aware of the fact that they have sold our interests. When we get here, take for example now, the march has been banned basically. Banned by whom? Banned by people we pay to protect our right to speak. So this is an inversion where we pay the government pays the police, and the police tell us not to speak. So there's something seriously wrong with society. There's something seriously wrong with the law. There's something seriously wrong with us. Why I say us is because look at our numbers here. Durban has 6 million people. They're all going to get jabbed. Many of them are going to die, but they're not here.
Exactly, yes.
Why? They're at the pubs or they're buying a new flat screen TV.
Turn off the TV.
Yes, the Springboks are playing. Now one has to ask, how do we get these people conscientized? How do we get these people learning how to think? Because right now we have to rethink how we think.
Exactly.
Politics by its nature is a continuation of feudalism, except we elect our kings, and then our kings do what they want to do with us, and we can't object because they ban us from speaking. They ban us from walking around at night. They ban us from being in crowds. They ban the numbers that are over and above certain amount of numbers. So one has to begin to say, are we thinking? Do we need to rethink how we think? And if we rethink what we think, is it not time to redesign the political landscape? Because right now, if you look at politics, for example, we can elect someone to lead us, but we can't elect to remove that person. What if they're bad? What if they're stealing? We have our money stolen. And I must emphasize, our money stolen. But the thief investigates himself.
Exactly.
Now you tell me, how exactly is that normal?
It's not.
So we live in an abnormal society, and we're saying that a referendum where the people's voice can be heard, where the people can begin to speak, where the people can begin to define their politics, is what will make our world better. Because our world won't get better, it will get worse.
Exactly.
After the jabs, your children's children are going to suffer because your DNA has been affected. DNA is permanent. It's not temporary. We can't say in 3 months' time there'll be change. There's no change. Your life has changed forever, and soon the unvaxxed are going to kill the vaxxed, or the vaxxed are going to kill the unvaxxed, and then say there's a war going on. But who started the war? The corporations have started the war and set people upon people, and we have to defuse that war. Let's call for a referendum.
Thank you, Russell. Thank you very much. Our brother, welcome here, just going to say a couple of words.
Amanda. Awethu. Sanbon. Good afternoon. Niyaphila? Are you okay? Here, you and I, there's a people who understand English, there's a people who understand Zulu, so I need to balance that. I was taught to balance the equation, so I have to know how to balance the equation. Without that, there is nothing going forward. Guys, I want to just take this words. Thank you everyone who arrived here, because this is the start of ourselves to unite ourselves together. Without this, there's no way forward. We firstly need to go in the ground, unite ourselves from the ground, because here we can't just come to the Durban and say we are united. We need to come from our branches, unite ourselves before we come here. In fact, what I wanted to say here, it won't take much long, but one thing is to say there is no more talking, but only the action to be taken. Either I am black or white, but we are dealing with one animal. You are black or white, but we're dealing with one animal. There is no more time to talk. but this is the time to take action. We must defeat that animal Ramaphosa. Because he is the one owning us, selling us, telling us what to do. Right now, just you must know that fourth wave is postponed because of the election that's going to take place on November. The fourth wave has been postponed because of that issue. There was a fourth wave, but it's postponed. Can you understand what is the COVID? No, nobody knows the COVID. But you are busy being injected by this animal, one animal. Even right now, the police can take me to the prison. I don't give a damn because it's the truth. We're fighting one animal, but our brothers are being killed, are being imprisoned by this animal. When Msholozi, people was marching for him, he was always going to the people and listen to them. But Ramaphosa, when you are marching, he sent the police to you. He sent the soldiers to kill you because you're marching for your rights. But Msholozi, he was always coming to that venue. Those people are there. And listen to the people. What are you crying about? What are you saying? And say, okay, he's listening to you. But if Ramaphosa is marching right now, how many people, policies are here? Checking the march, asking for the permission for you to march. But Msholozi was coming to you. Look at now, you are killed by this animal. And right now, if you say no, I don't want this, you're going to be arrested because you don't want that. Other people are chased out or fired from work because of they didn't take the injunction. Where are your rights? Because you have to voice your right, voice your opinion. You are being chased, you are killed. I said, one day I said, you know what, I don't give a damn whatever they're going to say. If I'm fighting for my rights, I have a kid, I have my family, I have to take the responsibility of those people. If I'm fearing to take responsibility, that means one of the guys or Ramaphosa one day will come to my house and say, I will sleep with your child. I will send somebody to sleep with your wife while I'm looking because I can't stand as a man. I am a man. I'm not fighting to be a man. So I have to fight for what is right for me. Whatever happening right now, I am saying no to vaccine. I am saying no to mask. Either they coming to arrest me, I don't give a damn. They know the mother. I was there demonstration.
It's unconstitutional.
Hey guys, my name's Dave. I just wanted to come over and have a chat with you. I'm live streaming at the moment, but I won't film you because I know you might not appreciate that. But I wanted to ask you some questions because I just heard the guy say that this is about Ramaphosa. You know, like the Ramaphosa is doing this, but I'll be honest with you, and I think it doesn't matter who's in charge. The government would have taken these actions, whether it was Zuma or a new guy or a new lady or whatever. You know, I've been traveling around for the last year and a half, and I've seen a number of countries, Portugal and England, and I've seen exactly the same things happen with the same lack of concrete evidence. So I've got to ask you in good conscience, are you guys, I know I'm not involved with what you're going to do today or have to push you along, but are you at home, you're thinking, am I sure I'm doing the right thing in enforcing policies that seem to be making criminals out of people who simply want to have free breath? Does anyone have a thought on that? No one?
It's hard for you to get answers from us because by law, in a police force, there's only one person who's allocated to do that.
Like an authority?
Exactly.
I was in the army, so I kind of understand that. But I know that if I was going home every night, and this has gone on for a year and a half now, I'm thinking, I'm not actually convinced about this, you know? And so what we're getting, I spoke to a very senior policeman on the Durban beachfront about 2 weeks ago, and he said to me, look, me and my colonel, we know that there's something very wrong here, but there's not much that we can do about it. We're kind of caught in the same hierarchy that you guys are caught in, that says, this is the new rule, and you've got to do this to enforce it. And what I'm concerned about is that, you know, well-meaning people and police who went into the police to kind of keep crime are now criminalizing people who are just trying to say, I don't want to take medicine that, you know, like that God didn't make. You know, God gave us oranges and apples and stuff like that. He didn't give us vaccines. And so we should be having the free breath that God gave. Breath is life. You know, your breath is your life. Your expression of life comes through your breath. Without breath, we die. So if I minimize your breath by 10%, am I not minimizing your life by this equivalent amount, at the very least? Before we were even talking about recycling your CO2, putting toxins on your hands 10, 15 times a day. So that what I see, because I used to work in Westminster in the government in England for a long time, and what I see now is, having looked at last year's death stats, I'm starting to see a change in the way that people are dying, and I think it's because of the things we're doing. Last year there was no real pandemic, but now you're starting to see lots of people die, but because of the actions we're taking, not because of the flu that we could have passed in the taxi to another person. Because corona was always flu. All the medical journals back to the early 1900s call coronavirus a flu, and that's all it is. It's a bad flu. And I don't shut a country down because I've got a bad flu. I don't shut the entire world down because I've got a bad flu, guys. That doesn't make logical sense. And when you think about it, if you had to go for a jog now or chase after a criminal or something like that, you'd be like, because your body's in fight or flight. It's struggling to breathe. And this is going to cause the rise in cortisol, stress hormone, which actually leads people to die. An Indian lady told me on the bluff the other day, I was talking to her, she said, my father died. He died of fear. They call it corona, but he died of fear. I promise you that's why he died, because he was so scared. And he didn't go out of his house for a year. All these sort of strange things that people are doing now are going to cause people to get sick. And I'm a human being, just like you are. Without the uniform, we're the same. Different color skin, but we're the same. God created us in God's image. I know that. And now we've got people, because they're wearing a uniform and they've got a salary to protect, they're going around doing things causing harm. And God's golden rule is to do no harm, my friends. We are not meant to be harming each other. And eventually there comes a point when we have to make a decision and say, because as I said to this policeman, I said, what you don't want is for us to end up having to stand off and say, we just want our rights, and you guys saying, well, we're going to push you back because you're not allowed to have your rights. You're not allowed to free assemble and all these sorts of things. You know that there were, in London last year, there were Black Lives Matter protests. Tens of thousands of people got together. How many of them got sick? Not one report. They weren't wearing the mask. In England, they don't wear the mask. In England, 12-year-olds and under never had to wear the mask. And in fact, I never had to wear the mask in England because the government said if you say you have a reason you don't wear it, you don't have to wear it. I never wore one in a shop. I never, you know, it's only I came back here 4 months ago, and it's like, wow, man, they are insane with that here. But I'll tell you one good piece of news, and that is that I've spoken to over 200 African people along this beachfront over the last 3 or 4 months, and 99% of them say, I know there's something wrong, and I'm not taking the vaccine. And I say, thank God for that. Because protect your own health before all this other stuff. Because we are making people sick, I promise you. And a coroner here, or a guy who has a funeral parlor here in Durban, told me the other day, 11 deaths from the vaccine in 1 week. And 2 had the vaccination within minutes, they died. This is his report, not my information. So whatever you think of the vaccination, or whatever's going on, I don't recommend taking it. Eat oranges. Go running. Hug your loved ones. You know, these are the things that we always used to do to stay healthy. Go to church. These are things that, you know, be with your community. So I'm sorry that you're in this position, by the way, you know, because I'm sure you're thinking, you know, it's kind of weird. No one's doing anything wrong here. They're just trying to share some information. And it's only information, you know, where my information comes from doctors and scientists and virologists who are not working for the government. Just in the same way as the tobacco industry only gave us scientists in the 1950s and 60s that cancer, you don't get cancer from smoking cigarettes. They told us that, right? But that was wrong. And so we've seen it with scientists in the past. They'll say certain things, they'll tell us certain things, and then we find out later, no, that was just consensus, that the only way you get through university or you get the grant is if you answer the question like that. That's what they did with apartheid. They said, oh no, there's a scientific reason why, you know, like the white people are better than the black people. They said that. Scientists, doctors would have said that. And that's all bullshit. like this idea we come from monkeys. It's all bullshit. We were created in God's image, and they do not want us to know that we are God's expression right here, living in this facade, in this sort of theater where we're pit against one another, whether it be black, white, Christian, Muslim, South African, Zimbabwean, whatever. It doesn't matter. They've got us divided, guys. And this vaccine, no vaccine thing, it's the new apartheid. And it's going to be like, oh, well, if you don't do this, you do. But if you think about it logically, if the vaccine was any good, then you should be able to take it and not worry about whether someone around you did or didn't, because you should be protected from it. If it's not offering you the protection you need, then why take it?
I have one more thing to add to that. Have you told them about Klaus Schwab?
No, I haven't mentioned
There's a gentleman by the name of Klaus Schwab. Okay, he's written a book, The New World Order. Don't believe a word I'm saying. Go to DuckDuckGo. Don't go to Google, because Google is blocked full. Go to DuckDuckGo and look up Klaus Schwab, New World Order. And what he says is, the people will own nothing, and you will be happy. Will you be happy if you own nothing and you have to rent everything? And who are you paying? The rent for your house. Who's going to own the house you're renting?
The bankers, they own it, and they charge us interest, which is against God. By the way, usury is in the Bible. It says, do not charge interest.
There's one thing you do, please go and look up Klaus Schwab. Please, just look him up and see what his New World Order is. We are not here fighting you guys. We're here fighting for the majority, which is us. Slaves.
We're all slaves, by the way. We're all slaves. You guys have a uniform.
The Reserve Bank is not a government thing. It is a privately owned.
Yes.
Owned by the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers in this country.
Shadowy people in behind the thing. And then they lend South Africa money to buy new roads, and then your children are paying the interest on that in 50 years' time still. And go to war, and then your children are paying for that war machine, just like they did in Europe.
That each and every human being, all of us, are traded on the stock market. Our birth certificates. Why?
Yes.
Because of the tax that we pay the government.
Hey.
You're an asset.
Just having a chat with you guys.
Just want to say thanks for...
Yeah, they've been very nice.
We're not a republic, we're a corporation.
Yeah.
And that is what we want to end. We want the people to be in charge.
Yeah, each of us to be in charge. You still need police. It's not to say you don't need some kind of that, it's not being like anarchistic.
You're always going to get the sick bastards.
Not against the police.
Gates, go and look up TED Talk 2015. Bill Gates said we need to reduce the world's population, and we'll do it with vaccines.
By 10 to 15% if we do
go
well.
And look for yourselves. Don't take a word I say. Go and do DuckDuckGo. TED Talk 2015, Bill Gates about vaccines to control the world population.
And like if enough taxi drivers stand up and say, no, we're not going to do this, what could the government do, And what could the police do, But to come on side and say, we are together.
Very, very,
there is no, I'm live streaming to my little YouTube community, but there is no inch of me wanting to go to war with the system. Because the system has got too much power. But the people have had their power stolen from them. And I think we need to take that back in a loving way, where we still have a community, we still have a harbor, we still have all the things that we have, but we do it under truth. And that man that was talking a minute ago before I came over, that black man, he doesn't actually know enough truth, unfortunately, because the truth is, like this guy was saying, is that our system has been rigged for hundreds of years. Hundreds of years. The banking system has been around for hundreds of years, and it's all been controlled. Our history, our science, there's so little of what we know is actually true. That's why most people believe that, like I used to, that I came from a monkey, that I evolved from a monkey. And that's lies. That's lies to demolish God or to diminish who we are.
Because together we are united,
You are my brother.
Divided, they are going to rule us. And they're going to keep
we're divided.
Keep us enslaved to their monetary system.
Yeah. And they want, I think they want an uprising from the anti-vaccine movement. They want, it's almost like, you heard the expression, problem, reaction, solution, or order out of chaos. Create chaos, then you can have more police, United Nations, you name it, all coming down, army on the streets, all of this sort of thing. Why? Because people are saying, I want my freedom to choose what I do with my body. But people who have got so much fear have said, no, you don't have a choice anymore. You have to go along with this.
Just think for yourself. You know very well that if I have AIDS, my employer has no right to ask me what my status is with AIDS. But now he has a right to ask me if I'm jacked.
Just going to the hotel here, you've got to fill in a full questionnaire, medical questionnaire. It's insane.
AIDS.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely crazy. People have lost their minds over this virus. It's a fear virus, crown virus, head virus.
It's patented. It's patented, and the vaccine.
Thanks for your time, mate.
Thanks
for your time. Nice to talk to you.
Guys, I just.
I'm gonna walk away. Hey, bro, the mask is bad for you, my brother. Trust me, the mask is bad. It's very bad. It makes you sick. Why? Because you are breathing your own exhaust. You're breathing out your breath. You have to do that. The government are lying to us. Do not take the vaccination. Do not use the hand gel unless you're forced to. But I never go to the shop with the hand gel. No thanks. No, I don't need it. Because that's toxic. And your body has to wash that through. Same with the mask. You're rebreathing stale air. So no. Inform yourself. If you can grab a flyer from one of these people, just take some information. Can I have a flyer, please? This guy here. There you go, brother. Be well, man. Inform yourself. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power.
Definitely, man.
Yeah. How you doing? I'm Dave.
Hey, JJ. Nice to meet you.
Likewise.
Cool.
Likewise. Are you on? Oh, you are.
Yes.
What's your story, JJ? Quickly, I'm live streaming.
Oh, you're live streaming?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, basically, I just, for myself, everybody's got their own choices, but I can tell you it's probably not a good idea. I wouldn't take it, so it's up to you. But do the right thing, do your research, and don't listen to the mainstream media. They're talking the biggest load of shit.
Cheers, David.
Cool shot, Dave.
Hey, how you going? On YouTube.
Oh, okay, cool.
I have a YouTube channel, but you can get to it through that lovetruthsovereignty.com.
Okay.
You guys, I wrote some stuff here, guys, and you may not have seen it at the start of the stream, but there's the new website. Thanks, Greg. Screen on consent. Sovereign divine beings. Hello, how are you?
Have you got one of these?
Oh yeah, I do, yeah.
Are you with Nico?
Yes.
I'm West Malaria, Anne Cousins.
Sorry?
I'm Anne Cousins.
Oh, I have to say I've been out of the country for 27 years. And I've only been back a few months. So I don't quite know the names that perhaps I should.
Oh, no.
So,
Look, I've got the fame but not the fortune. You know? Unfortunately.
Oh, you're very involved in OM then? Is that part of your claim to fame? Well, I congratulate you. I would shake your hand if you would take mine. I'm Dave.
Hi, Srini.
Srini's doing the Gillets and all that area.
Oh, also for OM? Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I like a lot of what Nico's told me about OM, and I'm, as much as I can, trying to be supportive of that.
Where have you been staying, living?
In this country?
No.
Oh, in London, mostly.
Okay.
Is it true that South Africa is the freest country so far?
The freest country?
At the moment?
Well, partly why I came back here. I mean, we went to Portugal last year, my wife and child and I, because, out in the countryside there's very little sort of control and so on. So we kind of like that. But actually, at the moment, South Africa feels more draconian because the mask thing was never as tough in the UK. Although most people bought it, you didn't actually have to be forced. You couldn't force you in a shop.
And I had a disability badge when I was, because I've been working over there as well.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, the disability badge
doesn't work. I refused to wear one just because I said to the few people that did ask me, I said it's like asking the Jews to put the Star of David on their arm. I shouldn't have to make my beliefs, my religious or medical thing to anyone. It's not. I should be filming you guys. Yeah, I am. No, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. And so I think the thing is that let me tell you quickly. 10 years ago, my mother died of motor neuron disease right here in Durban, and it really set me off on a journey. In 7 months, the medical profession, from diagnosis to death, the medical profession and the insurance profession both let her down abysmally. She worked in Addington Hospital for 20 years in the intensive care unit, so she was right into that. But it was, for me, a journey back to my childhood, because at the age of 19, I went into Angola as part of my national service and was involved in the biggest tank battle since World War II in Africa. And it actually occurs tomorrow morning, 34 years ago. I wrote a book about it a few years later because I discovered that no one had ever told the story.
What year was that?
87.
87.
Now, what happened was there's a military nugget that occurred on that day. A unit called 47th Brigade of the FAPLA, of the Angolans, was destroyed, technically destroyed. Written about in history books, but only one tiny paragraph. And when I came across this in 2013, I thought, oh, well, let me write my story, because people were interested in, now I was unpacking my life story. So I wrote a book about it, but it brought me to information that changed my paradigm completely. And it meant that I needed to go back and restudy history, science, down to quantum physics level. But all of these things that I'd been taught, because I realized at the age of 47, 7 years ago, that I really knew nothing. And I think that one of the hardest parts of this journey has been trying to tell people that actually a lot of what we believe to be the things out there are not to be believed, because they are just mechanisms of control. Yeah. And oftentimes it sounds like, oh, you humans are bad, or you humans are simple, you've just evolved, all of these sorts of things that diminish whatever God or you believe in was intending to create for us to come and experience here. So a big part of my sort of mission is to try and not only say, okay, we have to have sovereignty, as you guys are saying in Ohm, but that we also have to have a real branch and root and branch kind of review of and revamp of everything that we teach our children. Everything.
It's all lies. We have to relearn everything.
Absolutely, and it's so. The thing is, that it's so pervasive that these lies are printed onto children's T-shirts. By the time they're 3 and 4 years old, they don't even realize that the parents don't. They think they're educating their children, but they're actually only doing their bit to perpetuate the Disney version of this reality, because it has been Disneyfied. Things that you and I can't prove, we believe simply because of, well, indoctrination.
As seen on TV.
As seen on TV, and you don't get to pass in junior school, get an A if you don't answer the question in the way that we've been taught to answer the question. It only has...
You failed by speaking the truth.
Yes.
Yeah, you failed the exam.
Yes. And I found that really difficult when I was a youngster, because I was saying in science class and in others, but how do we really know this? And it's like, no, well, we have...
I used to ask questions all the time. The teachers just get so mad.
Yeah.
And especially history class.
Yes.
Because if you write what you know,
yes,
then it's not
yes.
wrong. You have to say what they told you.
Yes. Because if you go home and say to Grandpa, look, Grandpa, this is what they're teaching me in your class, and Grandpa says, no, that's not how it happened, you can't get to answer the question the way that Grandpa says, because you will fail the class. This is the same in science. You won't get the funding if you don't take the same line.
And they own all academia.
Yeah.
Because all the academics are sort of toe the line.
Yes.
They no free thinking.
Yes.
They cannot do what they please.
Correct.
They are all toe the line.
Yes. And they were all good in class. You see, there's a psychology of those ones that are really good in class, is that generally they will want to answer the question the way it's been presented to them. Oh no, we do go back, and they'll say this, so we'll go back and do our own research and so on, but it always has to take the same fundamental premise that yes, evolution, the missing link, we overlook that, but evolution is real. And then from there we can imagine other strange things beyond that, but it all has to sit on that foundation, that shaky foundation of things that we can't prove, the missing link. Yeah, and so for me, that's a very big part of what I'm trying to do, is to say, gosh, guys, it's great that we're activating, and now we're realizing that the Pasteur version of germ theory has been perpetuated for 150 years, and yet he recanted that on his deathbed, apparently, and said terrain is everything.
He did scientific fraud.
Yeah.
He manipulated the figures.
Yeah, so now if we've been able to build an entire pharmaceutical giant on the back of that lie, what other giants are we beholden to in this world that are built on similar deception?
For now, the entire AIDS issue is based on a lie perpetrated by Fauci.
So he needs to be strong and important, and I'm not an...
And when people said
a volatile person.
the truth, and they were marked as the liars.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing to think about, right? How have we gotten into this pickle? How have we gotten into a situation where, intelligent people have gone to school and continued the same thought and said, oh, no, we're not going to challenge the germ theory. We're just going to go along with it. Well, there's money in it. There's opportunity to get a nicer car, if I'm going to flog these drugs for this company and all this sort of thing. So it points towards the 7 deadly sins of how society has sort of been tricked or eased into kind of creating these giants, these pharmaceutical giants that we all buy into. We allow all these adverts on our TV. We know we watch the destruction of natural medicine and the replacement of it by this petrochemical stuff, right? And yet you'll hear mum saying, okay, pump more medicines into my child, rather than the grandparents saying, no, where's the fruit? Where's the healthy food and the sunshine and the water?
Where's the
And
the honey.
Yeah, all the natural way, the turmeric. And, these are things that we knew, but we now happily go down to the pharmacy and buy those things, put our energy into those things. So until people stop buying Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, you may not, but the problem is billions of people are, and billions of people are lining up now.
Especially in the States and
Yeah.
in the UK. They just live on drugs. And at least here in this country, we're not allowed to advertise certain drugs, like hardcore drugs.
Right.
Whereas in America, my brother's an American citizen now.
Yeah, but I'm going to ease you a little bit away from that thought, if I may, and that is because it's much more subtle than that. You see, it's not the hardcore drugs. When it comes to what's going on in the world right now, it's actually you remember when you were a kid growing up, they used to say, what is it called? Jif? No, we used to use a white squirty stuff that killed 99.9% of germs. No, just like Jick. Or any of these household products, and they boast about killing 99%, but we don't want to kill the germs, actually, but we've been buying into that sterilizing of the counters and sterilizing everything. So we've slowly become quite used to the idea that these germs are an enemy, and we need as much protection as we can get from the pharmacies that we can.
Yeah, so this whole thing about...
Thank you very much. Thank you, I'm Dave.
I'm Lawrence.
Hey Lawrence, nice to meet you, brother.
Nice to meet you. I'm enjoying and I'm learning as you're talking.
Thank you. Cool. Well, I would like to offer you this, guys, as a sort of way to just conclude this conversation, and that is that, and this will be useful for you, Lawrence, is that I believe that we have been tricked for hundreds of years. And that very little of what we've been taught to believe about our humanity, our collective humanity and our individual humanity is intentionally deceptive, so that you will never discover the real truth about yourself. Even within religions, what they do is they're good information and then they just slightly tweak the message so that you never realize that what Jesus was saying is that you are the way to God. The way, the truth and the light is through you. He was saying, God created you in his image. Look in the mirror, say these words, I am the way, the truth and the light, and that your connection to God is pure. It is pure, it is unbroken, but this system wants to dull down the light of God, of Krishna, whatever you think of in terms of the light that, or the love that God has. It's within you. And I say to people that we're a tiny, tiny, tiny fractal of the Creator, but we are pure in that essence. We come pure. The system wants to damage us, so that we are like the serpent tongue, we are split. We have split personalities, our sheep are going one way, our goats are going the other way. But what it says is that you are meant to be the good shepherd, and the good shepherd controls his left brain, his right brain, his hot side, his lower energies, and his higher energies, is that we're meant to come into balance in ourselves. And this says that the rich man will struggle to get through like a camel through the eye of a needle, whereas a man who's had humility his whole life is going to be much closer to this connection to the Creator. So in some ways, people with lots of money are far less rich than a man who's had to really survive his life and really know his relationship with God. And that's probably a guy like you, Lawrence, because I've spoken to a lot of guys. You look like you're homeless at the moment. I've spoken to a lot of guys, and I know how much they connect to this message that we are actually divine, and the system tried to deny you that truth so it could break you and destroy what God intended for you. That's my piece.
And just remind me, what is the name of your book?
My book is called Battle on the Lomba, 1987. On the Lomba. Lomba was a river, and we spent 6 weeks in battle around this river.
My brother was up there as well, but he was a bit before you.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to know.
Okay, and I was with a unit called 6-1 Mechanized Battalion, which was this mechanized fighting unit, And it's an interesting thing, actually, if I can talk quickly on the veterans, is that there has been some interesting noises from certain veteran groups, but in the main, veterans are just falling in line. Because you see, when in the army, we were also trained to, and to follow authority, and to try. And even though none of these white veterans would vote for the ANC, almost none of them, they would go along with what the ANC is telling them to do, despite it being, harming their children and all these sorts of things. So it blows my mind, and I am trying to call on these guys to wake the flock up, because these sheep are just wandering around aimlessly and going along with a government that they would never have chosen. We were all meant to be fighting against communism, and now extreme communism is leaning over your fence and telling your neighbor he has to do things to protect your health. That is the extremist of communism. And I have a website, lovetruthsovereignty.com, which is a new website, so it's currently directing to Trinity 4, my YouTube channel. Yeah, that's me. This is my artwork. Well, some of it. This is my artwork from earlier. I do go up and down the beachfront. I want to encourage people to do that. Just take chalk and write no vax. I've been doing it up and down for a few months, and it's it's harmless. No one can have a go at you for it. Thanks for giving me your time, guys. It was really nice, and I hope to see you again.
And thank you too, sir. May you
Yeah,
be
Lawrence.
blessed,
And you
I wish
too.
All the best.
Thanks, my
and
brother.
May God be with all of you guys.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
May God be with you
And with you as well.
And with me as well. May God be with all of us.
Yes.
Protect us, to guide us, to
Yes.
live many, many more years
Yes.
to come. Even if we go through hard time, difficult time, but may He always be there for us. Like He died on the cross for our sins. He's everything to me. He's my personal life savior. He's my healer. He's my everything. He's my mother. He's my father. Without Him, I am nobody. But with Him, I am someone. Because I have faith and I believe. I'm a child of God. I accepted Him as my God.
The biggest
No one can change my mind. No one can make me change about that. It's done. It's done. I'm a child of God.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
I'm just going to have to go catch Shabna. Nice to meet you.
Likewise. Hopefully we'll see you again. Yeah.
Lovely to meet you.
Yeah, likewise.
Thanks. I'm going to look up.
Yeah.
But I'll put your...
Yeah, do that. I think the book's hard to find because it wasn't printed in this country. It was printed in the UK. I am going to maybe think about reprinting it here now that I'm living here.
Because my brother would be very interested.
We are articulating.
He ended up almost all of his, because he was the last of the 2 years stint.
Oh, right.
And he was up there for almost 2 bloody years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I had a year up there, but it was just the 3 months in Angola that was stand out.
Very, very close together. They are all so pretty. And my kid will, anything I give him to read or research.
This guy does community gardens. I'm trying to get involved in that a bit. Yay.
School runnings now, so see you guys
All right,
later.
yeah, super.
I'm just gonna go try so I make my shelter money.
I can help you out with shelter, my brother. It's 30 Rand, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can get you that.
Thank you.
No worries, man. 1 second. Hey, dude, I'm gonna, guys, I would like to, you could listen forever. Thank you so much. I can't really read. Yeah, 432. We need, yeah. Well, 432. In America, I've heard of veterans coming together in that way, and I put something out on Facebook today, which I think will upset some veterans. Yeah, my brother, it's $50. Whoops. Get yourself something to eat as well.
Thank you and bless you, sir.
Cool, man. Yeah, lots of love, brother. You are, like me, one with God. You're a good soul, man. It's nice to meet you, and I'll see you again because I'm often down here on the beach. My name is Dave.
Dave, I won't forget that name.
Cool.
Dave.
Cool. And if you see chalk like this on the beach front, then that's normally me. I've been putting the chalk, but I also tell people that the Earth is flat. It's not a globe like they lied to us about, you know. That's another NASA. The whole thing is space. They never went to the moon. The Earth is, this water is level. The whole sea in the world is one sea. It's one sea, mountains and sea. That's all we've got. We're not moving. The sky is moving, but we're not moving.
And the sea, even in America, it's the same sea.
You know, it's the same level. Yes,
same level.
exactly. Like the Bible says, you know, God made the earth unmoving. And then there's the sky clock to tell the seasons and the time and the day and all that stuff. These are little lights that move in the sky, but we don't know exactly how they work. But the scientists try and convince us that they know, and that we're like a rock spinning around in the air and stuff like that. It's all nonsense. Water must always be contained, otherwise it spills, right? It must be in a cup or a bowl or a lake, otherwise it's going to run away.
It's going to run. That's true. It's true.
Cool.
Thank you, sir.
Cheers, Lawrence. Good luck, my brother. Be strong, man. I wish you well.
Same goes for you too. I wish you all the best.
Yeah.
May you be blessed. Like I said, live many more years to come. Because we need guys like you who's going to make us strong, who's going to make us have faith, who's going to make us to believe, who's going to tell us the truth.
Yes.
Because when I heard you talking, and I see that you're a person with truth, with the truth. No lies, but the truth.
Thank you.
So all that
means a lot coming from you.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good day, and I'll see you again. Yeah, I will see you around on the beachfront. Cheers, Lawrence.
It will happen.
Yes. Oh, God willing, I'm sure. I'm sure. Go well, man. Well, maybe that's a good time to end the stream, actually. Party. Okay, so yeah, that's been fun, and it's an hour and 3/4, so that's probably a good time to end it. If you've been, thank you. You are doing amazing over there. Thanks again, Dave and family. Really appreciate that. And as you can hear from that guy, I mean, that was unsolicited. There's so many homeless guys here. I'd never met that one though. That guy, Lawrence. And it's a hard life for a guy like that, no? I think he's missing an eye. I think that was a glass eye. Sure, it's tough, but you know what? This is where we start from. Humanity is broken, and it's going to try, and those who've got money or whatever opportunity or jobs or whatever will try and insulate themselves from this as much as they can. But eventually, it has to pop. On the DMT, I saw that happening. Like a future view, but I don't want it to pop. I just want to help people. This has been the hardest 2 years of my life, by the way. The hardest. Harder than those 2 years in the army by a long shot. So, and for Andrea, even harder. She wasn't as prepared for this as I was, and it's been hard for me too. So, and that little boy now, 2 years of his 4.5 year life has been on the road. But to have a guy like that say, we need people like you, I hear this a bit, but that's what I hear a lot off camera. It's nice to hear it on camera, because those people that have been supporting us, I think they're feeling that too, that this is something that's really valuable, and who knows where it leads, and who knows what fires we can start down here in Africa. By the way, I have a theory now, which I'm going to throw into the mud flood conversation, folks, which is that the Cape of Good Hope was never part of Africa, and it was only after the flood that the lands were joined with what they call the Cape Flats. Anyway, I won't go into that now. You want to have a chat on camera? I'm live on YouTube, guys. You want to have a chat? Talk about this mask? Not good for you. Okay. My mouth is kind of dry. I actually could do with a smoke. I'll be honest with you, like a little doobie. And then we're going to go and join some. There's another. Maybe I'll go live or film some of it later. So thank you for stopping by. And share this. Or don't share it, but I think there's more to come. Right? And it's been a hard journey, but I feel stronger and more kind of on the right path. I feel like I'm more on the right path right now than I have been for some time. I said that earlier in the stream, so you may have heard me say that once before, but these are the kind of homeless guys, this car guys that, it's a hard life for these guys. Anyway, my little boy needs me. Thanks so much. Hey, darling.